Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. First, to get it out of the way, if you enjoy the video, like, comment, subscribe, it really helps out. Thanks. Today, we are going to be taking a look at Valorant, one of my most played games, so there is a small bias, but I'll do my best to be neutral with the suggestions I give later. Let's get started. So, what is Valorant? It's a TAC FPS similar to CSGO/CS2, but it's also a character shooter like Overwatch 2. Though it has also been compared to League of Legends, especially since Riot makes both Valorant and League. The characters in this game are called agents, and that's where you get your utility from, similar to CS2's smokes and mollies. But specific characters slash roles will have specific utility. Now, there are many characters that there's so many that I just can't go over them all in this video. I will list all of them, but I can't go over each specific one entirely. So my plan is to make a separate review for each agent later in their own separate videos. When you load into the game, specifically a match, you will be placed on one of 11 maps if you're in unranked, and one of 7 maps if you are in competitive. You then load into the select agent screen where you can pick one of many agents separated out into 4 different roles: duelist, initiator, sentinel, and controller. Duelists are, as the game puts it, self-sufficient fraggers, but their actual job is to make space by pushing sight before their team, pulling enemy crosshairs away from them and onto you. Now, don't do this without any help. You should use info/push util from the next role, initiators, to help you not die. The agents in this role are Jet, Raze, Reyna, Phoenix, Neon, Yoru, and Iso, and currently has the most agents inside of this role. Initiators are agents who use util to help their team get kills, take sight, and hold sight. They do this through info, stuns, and flashes. Their main use is helping out the duelists with initiating. You should expect to push behind a decent amount of the team. You are not supposed to be the first person in. The agents in this role are Sova, Breach, Sky, Fade, KO, and Gecko. Controllers are the designated smoker of the team. All of them have some sort of smoke as an ability, but they usually have some sort of stall util, whether it be a molly or more smokes. When defending sites or spike, depending on which side you're on, you use smokes to stop people from entering site, along with the stall utility like the mollies or other smokes. While when attacking the site/spike, again depending on what side you're on, you use smokes to cover angles that people may be watching or may be in so that you don't get shot. The agents in this role are Brimstone, Viper, Omen, Astra, Harbor, and Clove. Sentinels are area denial agents. On defense, you are designed to hold sight for your team to rotate, while on attack, you hold the flank/lurk and hold the site when you plant. There are 3 exceptions to this though, in Sage, Deadlock, and Vice, the newest agent. Those 3 are more focused on hitting site with the team and holding only the site, not the flank. The agents in this role are Cypher, Killjoy, Sage, Deadlock, Chamber, and again, Vice. Now onto the gameplay. The gameplay is relatively simple. After you lock your agent, you load into the map on either the attack side or defense side. On attack, you are trying to take one of the sites and plant the spike, then defend it from being defused while it gets ready to detonate. On defense, you are trying to keep the attackers from hitting one of the sites. But if they plant, it's not over. You have the chance to defuse the spike before it detonates. After 12 rounds, you switch sides and play to 13 rounds. If it goes to 12-12 in competitive, you will need a round lead of 2 to win. And in both modes, you will go into overtime with both sides having the same amount of money and all agents being 3 ultimate points away from their ultimate. Maps in Valorant fall into 2 categories, 2-site maps and 3-site maps. The 2-site maps are Bind, Split, Ascent, Icebox, Sunset, Abyss, Pearl, and Fracture, while 3-site maps are Lotus and Haven. Each map is different, and they all feel unique, though not all are liked. I will go over abilities in the agent reviews, and I will be skipping over the guns. Maybe I'll talk about them another time, but unless you're in competitive, usually all the guns are good. Now, onto the pros and cons. Pros. It is much easier to get into Valorant compared to something like CS2. There's a lot of smoke lineups and things that you have to get used to with that game that are a lot more difficult than Valorant. And this can be seen as a bad thing because it seems like they're just babying it for the sake of babying it. But I think that this also helps people get into it and stick into the game when they aren't used to mechanics like CS2's. Valorant also has a helpful community. There are many YouTube videos and YouTube channels out there with the sole purpose of helping you improve your skills. Whether it be aim guides, crosshair settings, sensitivity settings, or just teaching you how to rank up by having proper positioning on site. Now, for the cons. If you come from hero shooters like Overwatch or Apex, learning the gunplay in Valorant is rather hard since it's a lot more precise, and I have also heard that it's very hard to tell if you are actually hitting someone or not. And people get really frustrated with how precise the shooting is. And also the community. Yes, I did put this as a pro, but that's usually just outside the game with people who are helpful. Though inside the game, you can also find some wholesome people as well. In the game, usually the community can be very hard to deal with, whether they're toxic ragers who disagree with anything that you do and try to tell you to do everything that you think you're doing fine, or they're the weird ones, the ones that everyone complains about, the e-couples, you know the ones that are usually made fun of for playing Valorant. But, they're the ones that are the most common, so. But I will say, you can ignore them relatively easily, since there is an in-game mute mic feature, and if they're not being helpful, there's no reason to not mute them. As it is one of my favorite games, it's very clear to see that my opinion on this game is I really like it. Obviously, it's not for everyone, but I think it's good and I would suggest it, but I'm also going to suggest it to a few specific people. I would suggest it if you are into games like CS2, Overwatch, and Apex. It's free, and if you put the time, you can get really good at it. Though the player base and rough learning curve just by playing can be very tough, and you may not enjoy it. But giving it a try should show you if you actually enjoy the game. And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. The next A review will be on Bopple Battle. Then I will, every other week, switch from agents in Valorant and games that I have played. Please leave a like, a comment, and if you're seeing yourself coming back to the channel, subscribe. And goodbye.